Colin.
Yo.
What do you got for me?
It's your boy. Just a real quick aside before I get into my topic.
Yeah.
I've been listening a lot to just that Currency record, the Stoned Immaculate.
I know. Who's Currency?
It's so good. He's a rapper.
He's a rapper,
Okay.
New Orleans.
Okay.
And he's just so good. He's just that record front to back is really good. Anyway, so listen to that. The Stoned Immaculate. My topic is board games. Typically, I when I was a child, I liked to play a lot of board games. When I'm older, I like to play some war games and stuff like that, some more in-depth games
Like Risk?
like Axis and Allies or Shogun.
What's that?
Axis
What's
and
that
Allies
Star
is fucking
game you
rad.
and Cheryl
Solar
came from?
Quest,
Awesome.
which is out of print. So I want to talk about board games. What games we played when we were kids? What are some of the seminal and most important board games in your life? What is the best board game of all time? And I'll start you off. I really love Axis and Allies a lot. Like some of the more complicated war games, even like again like Shogun. Like these are really complicated games, and they're great. But I think the best board game of all time, if we're not counting chess, which I don't count as a board game. Chess is the best game of all time, better than any video game, better than anything. I would say Monopoly.
Yes.
is the seminal game.
It takes too long. That's my
Doesn't
problem,
matter. Don't be a
though.
bitch about it. Monopoly's awesome.
How many games have you finished?
I was ranked on the case ladder system on the internet version of Monopoly, which is where I learned about Westwood for the first time because they were the developer of the video game, and I was like, "What is Westwood?" And I figured out it was Westwood.
I had that
Hollywood.
version of Monopoly too in the late '90s, right?
Played online on your PC.
I think I was on there too.
I once got to 24 in the world, and I had a little hot symbol next to me because I won 3 in a row. Wow! So that's how many fucking Monopolies I finished.
True
in my
story.
life.
There was only 25 people.
No,
playing on
there was a whole
board.
bunch of
No, there
people
was a lot
on
of people
there.
on that.
Asshole.
I remember that game.
I'm gonna give a quick shout out to Pictionary.
We weren't ready to stop talking about Monopoly.
No, I'm gonna go back to Monopoly
Throw
in a
some
second.
goddamn fucking stone in Monopoly.
I love Monopoly, but Monopoly was
Pictionary's
like the game that you were like, okay, we'll play Monopoly, right? If there was no other better board game, you would play
Well,
Monopoly.
because everyone has it too. That's the thing.
But that's why I loved Pictionary, because when they had Pictionary, it was there's no choice between the two. You go Pictionary because inevitably you can start drawing some disgusting pictures, and everyone will think you're really, really funny at the party.
With all due respect,
Sure.
and this is also my own ignorance of the game of Pictionary.
Yes.
Is Pictionary a board game? Is there a board?
There's a drawing board.
Thank you.
That you draw on.
So
I'd consider Pictionary a game, like because it comes in a box with all the materials, and there is some sort of board, isn't there?
I mean, you have
Now,
to,
like,
you have the
pieces are
boards that you
moving
draw
around.
on. You're
That's
not
an easel.
technically.
See, but that's the thing though.
Or a
With board
scorecard or
games,
something?
does there need to be a board, or like do card games count as board
I
games?
don't think they count as it. I don't think
'Cause
so.
it's
I think a
weird,
board game
'cause,
has
like,
a board.
I always
Alright.
give a shout out to Taboo. But
Taboo's
like
the bomb.
Taboo, I wouldn't call a card game. It's a board game, even though there's no board.
Board games are very vast because I feel like there's some whack ass board games. I'm gonna give a whack ass award to fucking Hungry Hippos.
What the fuck?
That game's so whacked out. It's like a game where you set everything up, everything like it's like all like super
first
quick
you
over,
kids,
and then it's
for
like
dumb
more of a
kids.
toy
the
than a
commercials
board
were
game.
really
though.
cool though.
they were cool. And Mousetrap's a
Hippos.
bullshit game too.
Yep.
Mousetrap's fucking complete bullshit.
What about
You buy
Cheats
it,
and Ladders?
You bought it. You put.
Yes.
You buy
For a
Mousetrap. You
child,
put
yes.
Mousetrap together. You set the Mousetrap off, and you never fucking use Mousetrap again.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, what a
Same
dumb
thing with
fucking
Grape
game.
Escape.
No,
Remember Grape Escape?
I love that.
You buy it. You fucking make the clay guy. You
No,
play
I-
one round, and you're like, well, fuck it. I just want to smash the
I
clay
just played
guys.
with them. I did bowling with them. That was fun.
Going back to Monopoly for a second, I don't know that I've ever finished a game of Monopoly. I probably should have, because I feel like all of my friends that were good at Monopoly are like make a ton of money now, and like no business.
Yeah.
You know, Monopoly nowadays has like ATM cards.
Yeah. Credit cards.
So you don't even need to deal with all the like cashing out and stuff. It's just like it keeps it electronically.
That's amazing.
Yeah. That's one of the fastest way to speed up Monopolies. To sit there counting and debate and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, that's something we should do in this. We should play a game of Monopoly.
Play
here.
Monopoly? That's a
one
good
video
idea.
that goes up.
Because it's crazy. The problem with Monopoly
4-hour
is
game.
eventually someone quits. Eventually, like people get tired and they're like, you know what? We're just gonna do an alliance and fuck everybody else. And then you're not really playing a game anymore.
property.
All
Yeah.
right, so here's the thing about Monopoly, right? Monopoly is an old American game. Comes from the landlord. Yeah, but it comes from an older game called the Landlord's Game. And what's cool about it is that there are just a myriad of house rules. So like the game doesn't have to be long. In fact, like if you play it with all the house rules, the game can last 30 minutes. But Monopoly is a special game. Like I'll play Monopoly anytime, anywhere with anyone. Like I love that fucking game. And how many you've never finished? I finished hundreds of games of Monopoly.
Yeah.
Like
Never finished them.
I used to play in college all the time. Get all fucked up with my friends. Play Monopoly.
Were you like me, where you'd get super offended if somebody wasn't committed to it?
Yeah, yeah.
And they start wavering. Like, you fucking decided to play Monopoly.
like-
You're fucking playing Monopoly.
And there's there's a bunch of strategy to it about like
yeah.
getting the reds and the yellows, especially like, or the oranges. Like there's certain, like, a lot of people go all in. There's auctioning, or you don't have to auction. There's all sorts of there's community chest, free parking, all those kinds of things. So I really appreciate Monopoly, and I recommend to people. I think it's on Netflix. There's a Monopoly documentary about professional Monopoly players, and it's like really, really awesome. Like, these guys are fucking crazy, and they play for
gonna watch that one.
They play for money and shit. There's another one about professional Scrabble players too, which is another great game. But Monopoly is a really special game because it's just one of those accessible games that young people play and old people play, and I really adore that game. We were talking about Solar Quest, which was an 80s game it's like a much more complicated Monopoly, and it takes place in space. And you buy planets and moons and stuff like that, and you put like fuel cells on them, and it's like you can lose at any time because you have to keep refueling your ship and stuff like that.
This is when I knew.
And there's all these spin-offs.
Colin and Cheryl's relationship was on another level. Is that when she came out here to visit after she had moved away to go do whatever the hell she did out there, school and crap, she came back and they just sat around this apartment and played this goddamn Solar Quest. They're like, whoa, you need to come here and get the fuel rods or whatever off this planet. I was like, you nerds.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a special game.
I'm gonna give a quick shout out real quick to a game that I don't think I've ever played a full game of, because it's so hard. But when you're drunk and or just drinking coffee in Southern California all night, it is one of the most fun games to play. Trivial Pursuit.
Oh, I love Trivial Pursuit. I was a baller at Trivial Pursuit.
So I could never. So my friends and I had this old Trivial Pursuit box that who the hell knows where we got it from.
It was the blue one.
Yeah, it was the hard
Yeah, I know exactly.
and it covered the period of like 1825 to like 1925. Right, there was like no modern questions in this thing. So all of us, we got this board out because we thought it was hysterical. We used to go to this place called Cafe Aruba down in Orange County on the Costa Mesa, and it would be open until 2:00 in the morning. So when we didn't feel like drinking or have money for it, we just sit, drink coffee, and play these games. And none of us figured out until way too late that you could actually get Trivial Pursuit like Hollywood / pop culture Trivial Pursuit, which is way more fun because we knew all of the answers.
But that came around late. Like, people won't remember that now. But Trivial Pursuit was hardcore for a long fucking time.
Really
there
long.
was nothing fun about it. It was all. It
was like a
all,
test.
I know you're Mr. History,
No,
but
but it was good. I thought it was just a fun game. Like, I really enjoyed playing it when I was a kid. Like, when you win Trivial Pursuit, that's like a thing. When you win at Trivial Pursuit,
You can put that on a college application that you won.
I once won.
I used to play with like my
Trivial
parents
Pursuit.
and stuff like that. I mean, like, we used to
See, that's
straight
the
up
thing.
play.
We
Like,
would meet. It's another one where you'd have the best intentions. I feel like with the first time you ever tried, and I've never finished a game of Trivial Pursuit.
Never.
You sat down, you get into it, like, I don't know, and like everybody at the table was like, I don't know either, and it's like, well, this isn't fun. But then now they make them that are modern. Actually.
Now they make them like all the answers
They
to
make
Justin
stupid
Bieber or Selena
Trivial Pursuit
Gomez.
for all stupid people.
Let me-
Kim Kardashian stuff like me.
let me let you into the Moriarty family.
Get
real
in
quick.
there.
There's a game that that my sister learned, I think, when she went to SUNY Oswego, and I'm sure it's called different things to different people. We call it Celebrity, and it's a game. All you need is pens, papers, and a bowl, like a big bowl.
I know this game.
And you give like different pieces of paper to everyone. Everyone rips them up in like little sheets, and you write. Each person like writes 25 or 30 names on them. So it'll be like it could be a fictional character, a movie star, a president, a band, anything like that. Everyone folds them up, puts them in, and it can be like a team of like 2 teams, 4 and 4, whatever. So there's like maybe a couple hundred things in the bowl, and there's a timer. So like every time, each team goes like for 2 minutes, and someone reads, like takes the names out of the bowl and describes them to the other people without using the name. So it's like George Washington. It'll be like,
So it's like Taboo.
kind
It's
of.
gonna change here in the next couple rounds, though.
So then you have like there's like all these arcane rules like where you have passes and all this kinds of thing, and like you're basically just keeping score on a piece of paper, and then you like throw the names back in if no one gets them. So then you start to like learn the names that are in there, and then you can like figure them out later based on the tricks that you didn't necessarily know about that name. And my favorite story, you met my dad last week. We were doing it, and Duran was in there, and my dad was like, sounds like Loran. And we were like, all right, everyone's got to go to bed now. It's a little too late for this.
That's awesome. Is that the only round of it, though?
That is amazing.
Because the one
I think so.
The one I played that I had never
thinking.
I had never played this game before or anything like it until I went to Missouri this last time for I guess actually 2 times again for it doesn't matter, Missouri. And what it was the teams or every person wrote 3 names down, and it can be fictional, whatever, blah blah. Tosses them in the bowl. You're on teams of 2, and then you go. In the first round, you go through the names, and it's literally anything but the name. So you're giving them George Washington descriptors. The next time around, it is you can only say one word. So if because when you go, you get the numbers right, and you each have a number of how many you got right for teams or whatever. Then they all go back in the thing. You go to the next one, and you can only say one word. So you pull George Washington and go like president, and then that person would hopefully say George Washington or whatever.
Do they have one guess?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, no. You have all the guesses. It says president. You can go through 1,000,000 as much as you want. I'm sorry. And then you get the numbers down there. It's a speed thing of how many you get. I forget.
Yeah, exactly.
Like 30 seconds or whatever. And then the final round with the same names is charades. Where you like,
that's cool.
yeah. So like
So
there's
That's dynamic.
yeah.
I like that.
Working backwards from that, to me, Taboo is just the ultimate game.
I don't even remember
That is-
Taboo. How do you
Taboo's
play?
so much
It's still
fun.
around.
It's
It's
you
so
get a
good.
card,
Yeah.
and then it says the word that you need to get. Your teammates need to guess, and there's 5 words you can't say, and you also can't do any rhymes with, sounds
Sure,
like,
sure,
starts with, none of that.
Lorraine
bullshit.
can't do that.
Yeah, but it's like you just can't say these words, and they're
Like
well
if you get
thought out
Magnum
words.
PI, you can't say 80s. You can't say like
Yeah.
TV.
Oh, sure.
You can't say those things. Like so, it's really really hard.
It's awesome, and
Can't
I
say
love
Tom
it. And
Selleck.
it's like when you know people and you're playing with like your good friends. Oh, it's so much fun.
Yeah.
It's the exact opposite of Apples to Apples, which infuriates me.
Yeah.
That game makes no
Why?
sense. It's
There
not
is
real
a board
fucking
in
game.
Pictionary.
There's no game there.
Yeah, I know there was for sure.
Okay.
I know there was.
I wasn't being mean about it, other than to say fuck you, Nick.
I knew there was a board. I remember those little pieces.
Nick interrupting.
The Apples to
Sorry,
Apples
guys.
is just the
What is that?
shitty.
What is apples to apples?
It's essentially Cards Against Humanity, but just without.
that game.
What?
It's too simple.
But that's my problem. The game does suck. It's funny. You end up saying funny things. The reasons you hate it. That's Apples to Apples.
Yeah.
Take away any of the funny phrases and everything, and just, hey, which one of us said that word? Well, that's fun. It's like there's nothing special about red apple. That's like, oh, that's such a Nick thing to say.
I feel like
you know.
Taboo. Colin and I would dominate in Taboo. Maybe.
As a
I
team?
don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like we would dominate.
You think you and I would dominate?
Yeah, us versus them. That sounds like a good. We should do that.
I think you and I would be a good team too. Who do you
You,
think would be the best teams here?
You're the,
you're the worst mom possible.
So you literally just said you would be the best team with every one of us.
I think I'm the
could you and
contributing
Portillo
factor.
be really good at it?
Oh, I'd freaking dominate with that
I'm
dog.
extremely good at Taboo.
Are you?
Extremely. Like
We should play a
Alfredo,
game. We should play
miserable.
a game. Us two versus them two.
We should. I like that a lot.
And then we'll do alternating weeks for the best, and we'll see who the championship team is.
GameOverGreggy plays is a good idea, and people want that. People keep talking about it. We should do some. Board games.
We should do Game Over Greggy Plays Monopoly and just
Yeah.
leave the camera on
Yeah.
and just see how long it takes.
No, it won't take that long because 15 minutes. Tim and I will just be like, we'll be
can't
right
quit.
back.
You can't quit.
We'll just
Play like
leave.
a man. See,
We'll just
Play like a
leave.
man.
so, dude, the die is cast so early in Monopoly too. Like that's what a lot of people don't understand. The Horde and fucking Mediterranean and all this shit. No. That's not where the game is won.
Park Place.
The game is
that's
won
bullshit. You
on the
don't know.
reds and the yellows, man.
Yeah.
Like that's where the game
Indian
is
Avenue.
won. Indiana.
Indiana Avenue.
I'm a railroad boy.
We should play Taboo. I would love
yeah.
to play a game of Taboo.
but there's above
right. I love
Taboo. There's a game Cranium. Have you guys played Cranium?
no.
I've seen it.
So
I don't know if I have played it.
Cranium's just the ultimate board game because it's Taboo, Pictionary, and charades all in one. And then there's one other thing that's dumb. We'll take that one out. And it's you like roll the dice, and depending on what number you get, like you either have to act out the word, do the Taboo game, or draw it or do stuff. Or like there's a bunch of weird tasks. Like you have to grab your teammate's hand and draw with their hand and stuff like that. It's fun. It's a good game. We should play that too.
Do you guys remember a game called Crossfire?
You get caught up in the crossfire.
Freddie Wong made a video about this
Oh, it's so
a couple
good.
years ago. It was a good video.
It's like
What was Crossfire?
it was just like a game
Stupid-ass
like
game nobody-
with like two guns on like either side of the board that shot like silver pellets.
Oh, yeah.
And then there was like all these different like polygons basically or not like polygonal shapes.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like all on the little ball bearings and you would try to shoot them into like the other person's goal basically. I love that game.
Now,
And the commercial was fucking awesome.
I'm throwing two more out there that I know are not board games, but they're games that I spent an exorbitant amount of time playing when I was a kid. Battleship.
Battleship's awesome.
And Connect 4.
Yeah.
Connect 4.
Both
Connect
are board
4
games,
is,
man.
Connect 4 is a little. Yeah.
Is it a board game?
It is a
Yes,
board game.
It is a
Absolutely
board game.
It's
Connect
just
4
a little
does have a problem though. It's like it's super good, but then I feel like you get stuck too much. There's too much. It's like tic-tac-toe.
Yeah.
Amazing game, except for the fact that
It's always a draw.
half the time it is unwinnable.
Like, it's the reason why checkers is whack. Because there's just so many, like, just too many ways to manipulate the game.
Right.
You know, there's straight up just too many ways to manipulate chess or checkers, and there's too many ways to manipulate Connect 4. Like, you win in the same ways over and over and over again.
Yeah.
If you know how to play the game, it's like in tic-tac-toe, it always ends in a draw, but the first person always picks the middle square. Why wouldn't you? You know, like, just eliminate 4 ways to win. Immediately, like for your opponent right off the bat. But right, 4 ways, yeah. So these are special games. But I feel like everything in my mind comes back to Monopoly now. Now, Battleship's a special game. That's a special game. I'm also going to kind of have to give a shout out real quick to the Arcane Wheel of Fortune board game that I had when I was a kid
God.
from the 80s. Now, this game was it came with like a little stand where like and you put like cards in that had like the letters in certain areas, and then you put like all the tiles down and stuff like that, and you lifted the tiles slowly. You had like a little, like some money and a board. Oh, it was a fantastic game. I used to play with my sister all the time. That was probably from like 1985. Something that game was an old.
I don't remember that game.
It was awesome.
But it's awesome that you remember that game.
I'm gonna tell you guys a quick story about Monopoly though. It's an essential story.
Come at me, bro.
I had Monopoly on NES. I loved it, and I used to play against the computer, and I was so obsessed with it that I started keeping standings and statistics for all of the different people in the game. Because there was like all these AI characters. I'd play as the horse, and then every other piece had like, the battleship had like someone associated with it, the hat and all these things. And I would play against all of them, keep statistics, and then make them play each other and watch the games. Like the AI play each other in these games. And a couple of years ago, I found my binder full of like seasons worth of this. Like I'd play
That
like
is
80
great.
game seasons of Monopoly, just simulating Monopoly games on the NES.
That's so good.
For fucking hours and hours a day.
I want to pinpoint the time in your life, the exact moment where you decided not to take over the world.
See, that's what's ridiculous right here. Is like we're talking about Monopoly taking too long to play, and here he is.
He's
watching
it.
other people play.
Not even other people.
Oh my god.
NES AI.
Yeah,
play
exactly.
Monopoly. And I was the same way. Like I was so obsessed with statistics and numbers when I was a kid, because I used to like pore over the newspaper with like baseball box scores and hockey and stuff like that. Me and my friend Tim, a good friend of mine from back home, we used to be so obsessed with it that we'd keep binders full of like fake hockey statistics where we would have like the real teams, and we set up this whole thing where we'd have like all these dice rolls, make all of these fake schedules for the entire NHL season. So not just like one team's 82 games, but like every team's games. They all like matched up with each other. And then we would do all these arcane dice rolls with our own rules to figure out the scores. And like if they got shutouts and who played and stuff like that. And then keep like individual statistics for all of the teams.
My god.
Like we were like we were so weird. Like
That's weird.
and we would always play, we both played hockey, so we'd go out and play hockey, and we would do the same thing, like have a fake league, like where I was like, one day I was, the Coyotes and he was the Winnipeg Jets or whatever, and we would play like a game with his brother in net, and we would play for like 10 minutes since it was so fast, and then we'd be like, that's the final score, and we would write it down in the book, and then like keep the standings and all this shit. It was like so weird.
That's a lot. You had a lot of time on your hands.
Yeah,
when
that's
you were a
ridiculous.
kid.
So
yeah.
the exact opposite of that. In college, everyone has the games that they always played, like most of them video games, Smash Bros, GoldenEye, like every college campus
Sure.
had that. But there's a couple board games that are go-tos, and for me in college, Monopoly Deal was one of those things. Have you guys ever played this?
No.
It's a card version of Monopoly, and it's made to be quicker. Each thing lasts max 10 minutes. And then it's just the same game where it's just like you're doing all the trades and stuff, but you just draw 3 cards and then you have to do all this stuff. It is so good. That game is so much fun. You get just as heated from playing Monopoly, but it all happens in 10 minutes instead
Here's
of 3
something
hours.
I want to talk about when we're talking about card games. Uno.
Yeah. I
Uno
was just
saw a
gonna say Uno.
resurgence
Oh, yeah.
with Xbox, of course. But I remember growing up, my parents and our next door neighbors being so into Uno, they would have like Uno night, where we would go over to their house, have dinner, and then play Uno for hours on end, putting down wild cards and matching sixes and crap.
Do people still do that? Do they still like connect with
Be
their neighbors
neighborly?
that way and like go play
neighbors.
games and stuff?
No, definitely not neighbors, but I think my generation right now is having this like really awkward retro resurgence thing where like all my friends now are like, let's have a game night. It'll be so nice. No alcohol, no any of this. Let's just go play board games. And I'm like,
Sounds awesome.
No, it is awesome. I love doing it, but it's just funny that like they feel such a need to make a point of just, hey, we're doing this.
Let's
We're
go
gonna
back
play
to the
Monopoly.
80s. Yeah. Let's watch, we'll throw on the Breakfast Club. We'll tease each other's hair. We'll peg each other's pants. It'd be fun.
Peg each other's pants.
Peg.
What's that even mean?
It's when you fold over the cuff and then roll it up.
Oh man.
It's pegging. My wife taught me that term. So you can get it's before pants were skinny pants. You'd peg your pants so they'd be sucked tight, and then you could put the Reebok pump or a high top on top of that bad boy, and they would fit right in there. Keep it a little loose. You need to keep it a little loose.
Good topic.
Thank you. Go Monopoly.
Go Monopoly indeed. I think
And
we agreed Monopoly.
hey, special dark horse shout out to Guess Who.
Man.
Guess Who is where you want to
You
go.
know what? Wait,
The special
before
dark horse.
before we end this, you can't talk board games.
Without Jumanji, I knew it.
No, without Clue. Do you remember Clue?
Never
was
played
good.
it. I've never
Oh, it was
actually
so
played it.
good. It was actually difficult because you had to like discover who killed
Yeah.
who.
You start getting to that thing where it's like rattling off guesses.
Yeah.
I'm like, no.
And I'm like, no, stop it. There's only like
Playing
10
the game
permutations.
right. Clue was fun.